Okay, we've started recording.
Right, I'll give a countdown. All right, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
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 You're good to go.
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Juan Hoyos from the SheTrades team in Geneva. And then I want to welcome you for the webinar today. We are starting today the April theme that is growth and resilience through digital trades. And then the webinar today, we have the best practices for increasing your online visibility. And then I have the super pleasure to have with us today Judith Ubershire. I think is it right, but maybe Judith can confirm
Almost.
it. That is our colleague in SheTrades. She will tell us today she will transfer a lot of her knowledge, not all of them, of course, not all of the knowledge on this issue of the increasing your online visibility, taking into account the importance of the topic nowadays. For your information, the webinar will be recorded. And then in this case, we don't want to give a lot of time at the end for your questions. So we invite, and it's not a lot of time because we want to keep all the questions for the panel next week that will be with Annabelle, who is a colleague of Judith as well in Ecom Connect, that we will talk a little bit about the platform, that ITC platform, Ecom Connect, during these two events, today and next week. So we will keep all the questions for next week. So we will have a more relaxed, in the sense, like a more conversation with experts in the topics, with Annabelle, and then we can address your questions. But it's still, please write your questions in the chat box or send us by email the chat box. The last logistics information that I want to share with you today, at the end, we will send to all of you a link to a survey, to an evaluation form, because it's important for us to hear from you which other topics, how the webinars and panels are evolving, and then to improve our offer on this sense. So not delaying the webinar, let me introduce Judith. Judith is an associate e-commerce expert in the International Trade Center. She started her career at the Federal Foreign Office, representing German digital policy interests in the Council of the European Union before joining ITC in 2016. And during the past 5 years at ITC, she has worked with a large number of small businesses across Africa, Latin America, and Asia to support them on their digital and e-commerce journey. She's passionate about leveraging the benefits of technology. Judith is driven by the idea to provide small business owners with the e-commerce and digital marketing skills and solutions they need to grow their business globally. And it's not only passion, we know that she's doing an amazing job. And then you can see a lot of videos of success stories with the aid of Ecom Connect, how these companies are transforming their approach to go to the digital world and improve their competitiveness at international level. Judith, super welcome. Thanks again for accepting the invitation today. And then you have so many things to tell us, so the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Juan. Thanks for the introduction and welcome everyone to today's webinar, which is on best practices for increasing your online visibility. We have an hour today together to cover the following topics. We will start off the webinar by showing how COVID-19, the pandemic, proves why businesses need an online presence. Then we will look at things to consider before building an online presence. And last but not least, I will walk you through a number of steps that may help you build a strong online presence. So you all know that COVID-19, the pandemic, has really proven why businesses need an online presence. Mobility restrictions and health considerations have forced whole consumer segments to shop online. You can see here a graph which shows the average monthly visits of 2,000 of the world's most visited e-commerce websites across multiple categories. And if we compare the website traffic worldwide of these sites in 2019 to the beginning of the pandemic in spring 2020, we can see already a huge increase. And this to say that the increase is still there, and it's likely that even in the post-COVID area, we'll still have an increase in online commerce and website traffic. This is not only relevant for B2C, it's also relevant for the B2B segment, because there are many B2B seller interactions that due to the pandemic had to move digital. And here you can see a graph, a statistic, a chart of McKinsey showing that also B2B buyers show a very strong preference for digitally enabled sales and are looking for suppliers that provide an outstanding online experience. So there's really an opportunity to leverage the shift to digital for augmenting existing offerings, targeting new customers, and creating new product lines. And we are here today to see some tactics, what you can do to basically build a strong online presence. There are a number of pros of going online. First of all, it's highly scalable. If you have an e-commerce platform, it doesn't matter if you process one order or several ones, the processing capacity is the same. Also, e-commerce eliminates processing errors that could occur with human intervention. If you use the right software, you can automate inventory management. You can provide a very efficient customer support by using the right technology. And what's key online is that your decision making, you can make your decisions based on data, which is super powerful because it allows you to really offer a personalized experience to your customers, because you can see through analytics, you can see what's going on online, you can see what your customers are doing online, and you can take the right actions and adjust your offering to what your customers are looking for. And of course, your business can stay open constantly, not like physical shops. But there are also some cons of going online. If you, for example, sell on an international marketplace, such as Amazon, you're suddenly exposed to many different markets. You're potentially selling to customers in 4 or 5 different countries. And this adds complexity because you're suddenly confronted with different taxation rules, regulations, compliance rules. And this requires a lot of knowledge and research. Lack of trust. This is also a big issue that especially small businesses that are just beginning their e-commerce journey are facing. It's not evident. It's not easy to generate trust online if no one knows you, if you're not a popular, well-known e-commerce platform or marketplace like Amazon or eBay. And you have a high level of competition online. There are now even more due to the pandemic. Almost all businesses had to move online. They had to close their shops, and it's hard nowadays to find a niche market to still be visible and find customers that want to buy from you at adequate price. And of course, security issues, because your online shop can always be hacked. Customer and payment data of your customers could potentially be stolen. And this is a new threat that online businesses are facing. Now, a couple of things to consider before building your online presence. I suggest asking yourself a couple of questions. First of all, you should think of the online demand for your product services. Is there online demand for what you're offering? Do you have a good internet connection? Are your products and services suitable for e-commerce? Not all products and services are suitable for e-commerce. If you're an e-commerce buyer yourself, you can already see what products or services you normally buy online and which products you would still prefer to buy at physical shops. And if you have enough time and resources to dedicate to your online business. I've seen in my work with a lot of businesses, I've seen that this is one of the major problems, that businesses underestimate the time it takes to dedicate to building an online presence. It's really not that easy, and the commitment and discipline has to be there in order to be successful online. A couple of costs you need to look at before thinking of moving online. The cost of the online channel you're choosing, whether it's a website or a marketplace store. You need to think of costs related to hosting, domain registration. Some platforms, they charge commissions, subscription fees. Then you need to basically digitize your whole product offering. So you need to create digital content. You need to take pictures, write marketing copy. And if you can't do it yourself, you need to hire someone to do it. Logistics and inventory, if you're selling products, shipping cost, inventory management software, potentially payments. If you're using an online payment solutions, they usually come with a fixed cost and also a commission. Customer service. On the one hand, you have the human resources. On the other hand, if you use software, chatbots, not everything is free. So you may also need to pay for this technology, and digital marketing. So once you are online, you need a budget to basically become more visible online. You need to invest in your social media. You have to think of other strategies, email marketing, SEO, and all this comes with a cost, of course. So let's start with the steps to build a strong online presence. Again, we only have an hour today, so I'm not able to go into depth in all the different parts, but again, I want to encourage you to ask your questions in the chat. And next week, my colleague will be there to answer your questions and to have a discussion about today's webinar. So let's start. The first thing I recommend to do is to identify market opportunities. And to do that, I would recommend 3 sub-steps. One is identify industry trends. You need to know what's working well right now in your industry. You need to research competitors to see best practices of what the others are doing. And then you need to identify strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats related to your own business. I wanted to make this today a bit more exciting, so it's not too dry. And that's why I picked an example. A company that I found randomly, it's a tourism company in Kenya. It's called Cottar Safaris. And I just used this as an example to walk you through these steps, to make it a bit more tangible, let's say. So it's a tourism company. They offer safaris. They also have a couple of accommodations. They're really committed to contributing to local wildlife and community conservation. And their sales channels are website, phone, email, and they sell B2C, but also B2B through travel agencies. I did a bit of research on industry trends, and I want to just present briefly two tools that are quite powerful. One is Google Trends, where you can basically look for popular search queries online, and you can pick a market. You can do it for the US or for, I don't know, for Mexico, wherever you want to look at and see what people are searching for online. And then they also give you alternative search queries related to your topic. So that's one starting point where you can already do some research on trends. And another a nice tool is Pinterest Trends. It works in a similar way. You search a term, you choose a market. This tool, unfortunately, is only limited to US, UK, and Canada. So if you're looking to find out what US online users are currently looking for, then you can also use Pinterest Trends, and it gives you the week's top Pinterest trends, and it's a nice tool to do a bit of research on industry trends. So having done this research, I looked at these two tools, but also additional reports. I found out that current industry trends for the tourism area, for the field of tourism, is one, reunion travel, multi-generational travel. Due to COVID, there are many families that have been separated for a long time. So apparently now it's a trend that families opt to spend holidays together. There's also a big trend towards safe travel, transparent information sharing, social distant travel instead of crowded tourist areas, growing demand for open air, nature-based tourism, and the new phenomenon, employees that can suddenly work from anywhere. They become a potential customers for tourism companies as well. Research competitors, again, we don't have much time, so I don't want to go too much into detail, but this is just a nice way what we sometimes recommend to put everything in one table and to give stars to your competitors. You can define a number of criteria here. I put some like quality, uniqueness, price quality ratio, communication strategy, distribution, and then you can list your main competitors and you can rank them and just analyze them and see what they're doing well and what they're not doing well, so that you can potentially doing better in this area. And then, of course, you need to analyze your own business. Internally, you need to be aware of your business's strength, the business's weaknesses, and then more external factors, industry, the opportunities that are currently popping up in the industry, and the threats. Having done this with our example, Cottar is highly experienced, has a history of over 100 years, very high standards, positive impact in local community, and a varied portfolio. They have different segments from basic to luxury, but their weaknesses are a strong dependence on local wildlife and community conservation. They depend on tourism and donations to finance local wildlife conservation. External threats, in this case, is a drop in tourism due to COVID-19 and also a wildlife decline due to human activities such as illegal hunting. But on the other hand, big opportunities are in the sustainable tourism and popularity of social distant travel. Again, this is just a very brief overview. Normally, we would go much more into detail, but to give you an example how this research could look like. And then having done this analysis and having put together the different pieces, we can identify some market opportunities for the company. In this case, key opportunities are to continue offering COVID-19 special actions to mitigate the tourism decline. Example would be special offers with a focus on flexibility, flexible booking, last minute canceling, safe travel, transparent communication around the travel, and potentially also offering new additional sources of income through activities like privately hosted virtual safari experiences. So this could be some of the market opportunities this company could focus on. Right, let's move to step 2. Once you identified key market opportunities, you should define your target audience. You should have a clear understanding of who it is you're targeting. To do that, you can look at a number of elements: demographics, age, gender, income, occupation, family size, education, geographics, where they're located, psychographics, we want to know about their interests, hobbies, values, their lifestyle preferences, beliefs, opinions, and we are also interested in understanding how they behave online, how they use the internet, what devices they use, if they're price sensitive, if they're loyal. So all this information is what we need in order to identify our target audience. One powerful tool to do a bit of research before coming up with your target audience is Facebook Audience Insights. What it does, it basically it gives you the pool of Facebook users and gives you an overview of the different elements I mentioned before: demographics, but also behavioral interest. What are the websites they're visiting? What are their hobbies? What's their gender? So you can go on Facebook Audience Insights and you can, for instance, put a country, US, and then it gives you distribution, how many women, how many men are among the Facebook users of the US, what is their education level, what's their relationship status, and this of course helps you to use data to basically confirm your assumptions. And then I always suggest to come up with a customer persona, to basically giving this person, the target audience, a face and imagining your actual customer. To do that, you can use an empathy map to analyze what is it what the person says, what is it what it thinks, what it does, and what it feels. Just to give you a little example, this is an exercise we did with a company in Costa Rica, a jewelry company, and one of their customer personas was a 32 years old girl based in Madrid, who loves unique exotic jewelry, accessory, dislikes fast fashion brands, has a very active social network, a lot of friends that admire her unique style. So you can see that this brings all this research to life and makes it more tangible, because this is something you can then work with in your digital marketing strategy. When you do campaigns, you can actually imagine who is it you're targeting. Once you define your target audience, you can develop your value proposition. To do that, I suggest a very brief template which simplifies the task. So basically you can follow the structure, you can fill it in. Our products and services help, then you use the information from the customer persona, who want to, and then here jobs to be done. You can mention the social, functional, emotional tasks that customers are trying to achieve by like a verb like reducing, avoiding, and a negative experience. Like we want the customers to avoid their negative experience and emotions or things they fear, and a positive verb by increasing, doing something positive, and augmenting positive outcomes and benefits which your customer would like to have. So this is just a little short exercise that can help you come up with your value proposition. Once you have your value proposition, your customer persona, it will be much easier to work on your visual identity. This again is very important online because yeah, it's all what the users see. So it's worth investing time and money in creating a proper visual identity. We've seen in our work with small businesses both some were able to do it themselves. There are some nice and easy to use tools, or you can work with a graphic designer. If you work with a graphic designer, you normally have to provide the graphic designer with a brief. You need to give them the description of the business, explain your product portfolio. You have to give them name, slogan of your business if you have one, all the information you research about your target audience, your value proposition, your brand values, brand personality, if you have a preferred color palette, typography, all this information the graphic designer will need to work on your visual identity. But as I said, do it yourself. It's also not too bad. There are a number of nice tools out there that you can use to work a bit on your visual identity. There's Pinterest. Pinterest allows you to put together inspiration boards, so you can pick different photos, do a collage, and basically come up with a board which reflects a bit the emotions that you would like to wake in your target audience. And then once you've done that and you have more or less an idea of the style you're targeting, you can use canva.com, for example, to create a mood board for your brand and refine a bit the ideas and come up with own ideas, but according to the trends that you already picked on Pinterest. Color palette, there are powerful tools like Color Adobe, where you can choose 5 colors, for example, to create your color palette. For typography, Canva is also super powerful. They have a tool, font combinations. So they're really good at combining the right fonts together. You can put a title font and they give you a recommended text font, for example. And logo, which is also key. Here, just a number of questions you can ask yourself to check if your logo is okay. So it's important that it's easily readable, that it's different from your competitors, that the colors awake the right emotions, that it's suitable for all kinds of devices, that it's easily readable on mobile as well, and that it's timeless and not dependent on a specific modern trend. Right. So once you worked on your visual identity, again, I'm doing this, but since we only have an hour, it's a very quick run through all the different steps. We could spend several hours per step, but this is not the point of today's webinar. It's really to give you an overview of all the different bits it takes to build and grow your online presence. You need to choose an online channel, potentially a sales channel if you're selling, if you're looking to sell through your online channel. And here I want to focus on website and marketplace. Of course, you can also use social media to sell, but since we're focusing on international e-commerce here, I would like to use social media, or to talk about social media more from a digital marketing point of view and not so much from a selling point of view. So website, it's of course if you have your own website where you list your products or services, and you're in direct contact with the customer. Whereas marketplace, there are several sellers coming together on a platform provided by a third party, and the customer places an order on this platform, and the seller ships the order directly to the customer. So that's the model of a marketplace for those that don't know yet. Just brief overview of some technologies. For marketplaces, these are just product marketplaces. There are, of course, also marketplaces for services like booking.com and Upwork for freelancers, for example. Here, product marketplaces that are international product marketplaces. There are popular Etsy, eBay, Amazon. And for websites, there are a number of content management systems and also e-commerce technologies like WooCommerce, Shopify, Magento that are powerful and user-friendly for businesses that want to build their own website and not develop it from scratch. A brief overview of the pros and cons of having an own e-commerce website. So positive is definitely that you control your sales channel and your customer data. All your digital marketing efforts, if you run campaigns, paid advertising, it's exclusively for your website, for your own sales channel. You have a lot of options to customize your website, provide a good brand experience to your clients. You have more choice of online payment solutions. Yeah, you're not limited by what a marketplace, for example, offers you. But on the downside is the high costs. Yeah, what I already mentioned, hosting, domain registration, all these costs, subscription fees, commission. You have to potentially hire a web developer, so the maintenance costs are quite high, and it's difficult to gain visibility as a newcomer. If you build a new website, it's very hard to become visible on search engines such as Google. It takes time and a lot of effort. Same for marketplace. So pros, you have access to a large customer base. Usually customers of marketplaces are looking to buy, not like on Google where you also have a lot of people that are just doing like informational searching and not only transactional searching, but marketplaces, it's more, I mean, it also depends on which marketplace, but marketplace like Amazon, it's highly likely that someone who goes on Amazon is also looking to buy something. Relatively low setup costs. The infrastructure is already there, provided by the marketplace. So it's not that you don't have to hire a web developer, for example. It generates trust. People know marketplaces like Amazon or eBay, so they feel more comfortable placing orders on these platforms. It's also easier to target different markets because you have integrated translation tools that makes it easier than if you want to have websites targeting different markets. And but on the negative side, you have less freedom to customize your store. So the brand experience is not as rich as on a website. You have a very high competition, and usually the prices are rather low on marketplaces. Again, it depends on which marketplace, but since there is this huge competition and sellers from different countries competing with each other, it's hard to find a niche. The digital marketing efforts, if you run campaigns, there's always the risk that you direct a potential customer to another business store on the marketplace. So it's not it's exclusively for your own sales channel. And marketplaces are just not available to merchants in all countries. And usually the choice of payment solutions is also limited. There are some marketplaces like eBay and Etsy that exclusively work with PayPal, which is painful for a lot of merchants that we work with because in their countries PayPal is not available. And usually marketplaces have very strict policies that are rather customer than seller friendly. So it's easy to get blocked on a marketplace and then it's really hard to start over again. And and you don't have control over your own sales channel because it's owned by a third party. If you are looking to sell online, you need a payment solution. And if you're selling products, you also need a logistics solution. I want to, this is a very brief chapter. We could again talk hours about payment solutions and logistics, but we don't have time. So these are just a number of things to consider when selecting a payment solution. So you need to evaluate the payment methods included and if it's in line with what your customers want to use. So, for example, if you're targeting customers that are in the US that are likely to pay by credit card, then make sure that this payment solution you pick offers credit cards, accepts international credit cards as a payment method. Security is super important. I think the key security feature is PCI DSS compliance, but usually the big ones they all have it. And you need to check if the payment solution can be integrated with your website or if it's a marketplace, if it's supported by the marketplace. And then last but not least, you should study the cost because they all come with different costs. Usually they have fixed costs, but also variable costs. They charge commissions on the transactions. So this is something important to keep in mind. When it comes to logistics, there are different providers. Quick overview. So you have express couriers. These are private logistics service providers. They're usually faster than postal service providers, and they normally offer a range of premium features, such as tracking and tracing, insurance, and the national carriers, the postal mail, they're usually focusing on servicing a specific country. The prices are usually lower, so it's a good starting point for e-commerce businesses that are selling like low value products, but usually they don't have this additional features like door-to-door tracking, which you will find with other carrier services. There is a premium post service. It's called the Express Mail Service, which is provided by the International Postal Express Network. It's a priority mail service, so it's faster than the normal post, and it also offers end-to-end tracking, but the costs are slightly higher than the normal post. And then you have international freight forwarders that are usually a good option for sellers that are selling B2B with larger shipping budget because the prices are slightly higher than international and national carriers, but they usually take care of everything. They prepare the documentation for customs clearance, and they make sure that your products cross the border without any problem. Right, now I'm just taking the time. Okay. Right, so we have a bit less than half an hour left to cover the last step. This is now focusing on digital marketing. Assuming that we went through the previous steps and you set up your online channel, whether it's a marketplace store or a website. Now it's about making sure that this store or website is found by the online customers, and this is really hard. As I said, you have so many businesses online. The competition is very high, so you need to invest time and you need to look at different strategies to become more visible online. And we will look at some of these now. Before looking at the different digital marketing channels and tactics, I would like to introduce the Objective First framework. This is important to look at this as a whole process because it's not just about I want to do a Facebook campaign. I don't really know why, but it sounds good and it probably helps. No, it's really about first setting objectives. You need to be sure about what is it what you want to achieve. Then you need to have a KPI, a metric which allows you to measure your progress towards the objective. And then you can look at the different channels and tactics that can help you to reach the objective. You can then execute the campaigns. You measure through analytics, and you optimize your results. So it's a flow. It doesn't stop after measuring. The idea is to constantly optimize and redo until you find the right combination of tactics. This is a nice little cartoon, which basically shows what you shouldn't do. So let's go through it. Probably the boss asks the digital marketing expert, what's the big campaign idea? We are going digital, Facebook, YouTube, a mobile app, Pinterest. And the boss asks, what are we going to do in all those channels? And he says, I don't know, we'll figure it out later. So that's clearly what you shouldn't do. It's important to first have an objective and then pick the right tactics to achieve your objective. Usually the objectives are rooted in the funnel. I don't know if you heard about the funnel, but you can see here on the right side, the funnel starts with awareness, then there's interest in your product before customers convert, actually buy your product. Then we have retention. So the customers buy again, and referral if the customers recommend your product or service to someone else who then becomes a new customer. So that's just very simplified the funnel. And our marketing really depends on on where we are in the funnel. In the top funnel, it's all about brand marketing. We want to make people aware and excited about what we offer. Whereas in the middle of the funnel, it's about acquiring new customers. We want to have people buying our products or services. And then at the bottom of the funnel, we want to retain our existing customers. We want them to buy more, and we want them to become basically brand ambassadors and find us new customers. Objectives always have to be specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. This is really important because otherwise it's hard to measure and it won't help you in your digital marketing strategy. That's why I suggest using a template like this one. And an example of a SMART objective would be, I want to increase the conversion on my website by 30% within 1 year. So there you have a clear target, and you can measure at the end whether you were able to achieve it or not. As I mentioned before, we need to have KPIs that allow us to measure the progress towards our objectives. And usually these also, the KPIs, the metrics, they differ depending on where we are in the funnel. Usually when in the upper funnel, we look at metrics like reach or impressions. So how many people have seen our ad, or how often our ad popped up, for example. Interest is when they already take an action, like they click on an ad to visit the website, for example, or if it's, or they engage with our ad, with the post, they like, they comment. Conversion, there we're looking at sales or leads, if it's a services company, maybe subscriptions. And retention, we look at repeat purchase rate, customers buying again, and referral, if customers become customers thanks to other customers. So we can track this through, for example, referral codes. When you have an analytics tool like Google Analytics, that's the most popular one that you use for your website, but also in marketplaces, you usually have an analytics dashboard. It's usually in marketplaces, it's less comprehensive than Google Analytics, but it also gives you a basic understanding of the different metrics that are important. In Google Analytics, it's divided in these 3 areas: your audience, so how many people are visiting my website and who are these people? So you would look at metrics like the users, the sessions, how many visits, and then the users, you can break it down and see demographics, location, etc. Acquisition means how did they get to my website? So where they're coming from. You have different sources. Either they come through search, organic search through Google, for example. or they come directly to your website if they open the browser and they put the URL directly. Referral, they come through another website which links to your website. Email, they click on the email you send them and they come to your website. Or social, they come through social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, to your website. And then we have the conversion behavior area where we look at what are the people doing once they get to the website. So we can analyze what are the pages they view, how long they spend on different pages. Are there any pages where they leave without doing anything? Because this is an indication that they don't like it. And we look at conversions, the revenue, transaction, the number of orders, average order value. Yeah, so these are the important metrics. Now, I want to give a brief overview of different traffic sources and tag strategies that can help you generate traffic through these different channels. We'll look at social media, content marketing, SEO, PPC, and email. Let's start with social media. Just a brief overview of the most popular social media channels. Instagram, it's highly visual, known for its influencers. LinkedIn, businesses use this platform to promote longer content. Pinterest, many users use this network to plan purchases. Twitter, it's known for the brevity of the posts. It's often a channel of choice for customer service. And Facebook, it's used for everything from catching up with the news to wedding announcements, also customer support, etc. In social media, you can either be active organically, like without paying for ads, or you can do paid campaigns. Usually I recommend to do both at the same time. Yeah, it works best. Ads, usually they're for targeting reaching new people, so they can help you increase the reach in a short period of time, and they can also make your customers potentially convert. Whereas organic social media, it's really more about maintaining relationships with your existing network. You can of course also reach new customers if your existing network shares it with their network, but it's usually a longer process. But it's free and it's definitely also powerful. When we look at paid social media, usually Facebook, Instagram, they give us different types of campaigns, like the different objectives. You can either have awareness campaigns, consideration campaigns, or conversion campaigns. When it's about awareness, Facebook will optimize, or Instagram will optimize your campaign so that you maximize the reach, the number of people you're targeting, or the number of times your ad is shown. So this would be under awareness. Consideration is when people should take an action, like for example, click on a link to visit the website, or engage with your content, like your post or comment your post. And then the conversion campaigns, they really have as an objective to achieve sales. So we want customers to click on a product and check out on the platform. And this you can do if there's something which is called Facebook Pixel, which you need to install. It allows you to track all the actions the users take once they arrive on the website. Very briefly, the ad campaign anatomy. So usually you start with the objective, the ones we covered, awareness, consideration, or conversion. Then you have a layer of an ad set where you define the targeting. So you use the information from the customer persona we put together before to target your audience. You can define the schedule, the placement, if it's on Instagram or Facebook, and mobile or desktop, your budget, and how you're willing to pay for it, whether you pay for just the distribution of the ad or per click, which means you only pay if someone clicks on your ad. And then the lower level is the actual ad where you define things like the format, if you want to have image or video or several images, the marketing copy you want to use, etc. And I really recommend when you do Facebook campaigns or Instagram campaigns, social media campaigns in general, always do A/B testing, which means that you do an ad and then you just change one variant and you test what works best and optimize as you go. Content marketing, also super powerful to become more visible online. It's basically the use of storytelling to build relationships with consumers by providing them with something entertaining and useful. Usually high value content is known by being participatory, entertaining, unique, meaningful, educational, and helpful. I mean, you won't come up with a piece of content which brings all these elements together, but it's already good if you can target some of them. You can either create content yourself, so you can analyze your customer persona, look at their pain points, and then come up with a piece of content that tackles some of these issues they have. You can write a blog entry or article. You can also co-market content with influencers, for example. You can have a partnership with an influencer. If they post content, then you co-market the content. You can recycle or curate existing content, bring different articles together to create a new one, repurpose content. So these are different things, ideas to come up with your content marketing strategy. This is just a nice example for user-generated content, a company we work with in Costa Rica. They do that a lot. They do like photo contests, for example, where customers are asked to share their latest purchase on Instagram, and then the winner of the contest gets a coupon code for the next purchase. So you have your users generating content for you. Email marketing, very briefly. Usually email subscribers, they're familiar with your brand and they're ready to hear from you, hopefully. And there might be existing customers. In general, it's always better to have triggered emails than generic newsletters. And that's why it's important to know where your customer is in the customer journey, whether it's in the awareness stage or already the purchase stage, and then adjust your email to the situation of the customer. And one example would be to use it for retargeting. So for example, here, it's again a company in Costa Rica. They targeted through this email campaign people that already visited their website and this particular product, and they wanted to check out, but it was sold out. So they used emailing to basically inform the customer that the product is back, and with a call to action in the email to shop the product now. You could even add a bit of pressure, add a discount for the same day or something, so that people are kind of animated, encouraged to buy. We don't have much time for the last part. It's about SEO, about organic search engine optimization, and PPC, pay per click, so advertising on search engines. On search engines, if you search for something like home improvements, usually you have two types of search results. On the top, you have the ads, so that's businesses that paid to be there. And at the bottom, you have the organic results. That's basically businesses that pop up because they're highly relevant, hopefully, and they fulfill a number of criteria that Google uses to rank them and to give them more visibility. Everything, and whether it's SEO or PPC, starts with keywords, because that's what people are using to search online. Usually there are different types of keywords. There are informational keywords, people that search about how to do something, transactional keywords if they want to buy something, or navigational searches if they want to look for a place. there are a number of tools like you would suggest, Moz, Google Keyword Planner, that help you analyze the potential of keywords. So you can test some keywords and they would tell you the search volume, how many people are searching for it, and also the difficulty of the keyword, which is kind of linked to the competition as well. So how many other businesses are also competing for this keyword. There is a phenomenon which is called long tail keywords. I think I don't have time, but it's an important point, so you might want to Google it after. If you compare search engine optimization with paid advertising on Google, you can summarize in a couple of points. SEO usually takes longer. It's primarily linked to labor costs, and you have limited possibilities. It's quite powerful, but it takes a lot of time, and you can only do that much. Whereas PPC, you usually see immediate results. You have a return on investment as long as you're spending. You can decide to only pay if someone clicks on your ad. And usually the more you pay, the more you win. It's not the only criteria, but it's a powerful criteria. Search engine optimization, the organic way of appearing on Google, it requires a number of actions. There's one on-page and off-page SEO. Off-page means everything which is not happening on the page, and this is mainly linked to backlinks, meaning if other sites, websites, are linking to your website, this is a super powerful way to increase your visibility online. So you should do a lot of link building, find partners that may want to link to your website. And on-page SEO is a bit more technical. There are things like title tags, meta descriptions. Title tags basically in the search results, what you see here in pink, and then the description is the meta descriptions, and you need to optimize those using the right keywords that you researched before. And on all your pages, you have to optimize your URLs. Also look at keyword density, that you're using the keywords often enough. SSL certificate, this is something to make your website secure, that it, this lock in the search bar in the browser is closed. Responsiveness, that your website is responsive on mobile, and the loading speed, that it's fast enough. So these are elements, again, we could talk a lot of time, hours about this, but these are just some elements to keep in mind when it comes to on-page SEO. Pay-per-click, it's always this big mystery, okay, how does Google show my ad? Like what are the criteria they take into consideration? And it's two things. One is the money you invest, and two, it's a quality score they give you based on a number of criteria, which are the likelihood that the ad will be clicked when shown, the ad relevance, matching the search query of the user, and the landing page experience. So once they get to your website, are they finding what they are looking for? And this quality score is based on historical data, using, of course, your own, if you have an ads history, your own data, but also the data of all the other advertising that's happening on Google. So that's why it's important to keep in mind that it's not only about the money you put, it's also about the quality score. The structure of campaigns is again similar to social media campaigns. You have an ad account level where you basically put all your billing information. You have a campaign level where you do the targeting, the budget for the daily budget, and then you have the ad group level, which means if you are, for example, a company that is selling tea and coffee, you can have an ad group for tea and ad group for coffee, and then below that, you can have several ads where you define the text, the title, the headline, call to action. So if it's a coffee ad group, for example, there could be different ads for each roast you offer. where you can modify these elements. This is just an example company in Costa Rica that's offering jewelry. So you would have here the URL, then the headlines, headline 1, headline 2, description. For paid ads, it's all about keeping it short and being precise and having calls to actions, because you want people to take action, you want people to buy from you. So keep it brief, include maybe some special discounts or something that attracts the customer. Here you can have call outs. These are like bullet points, again, with additional useful information for your customer. Like I put here, contact us 24/7, eco-friendly packaging. And then you have on the bottom, on desktop, you have several extensions where you can link to specific pages on your website and feature important information like the story, or if you have a specific type of products you want to advertise, if you have worldwide shipping you want to promote. So this is just an example of a paid ad. And now it's about time. Before I hand over to Juan, I just wanted to promote our platform. It's called ecomconnect.org. As Juan said, we're the Ecom Connect team of the International Trade Center. We work a lot with SheTrades. Please go on Ecom Connect, create a profile. There's a lot of free, useful e-commerce materials that you can access. Also some tools like cost calculators that we came up with to help you with your e-commerce journey. And again, ask your questions in the chat, and we're happy to answer next week. Thank you very much.
Judith, that was amazing. And now keep the presentation, because I want people really copy the link, because echoing your invitation, I want to repeat the invitation to people to connect to Ecom Connect. It's not only the tools. I mean, they have even an amazing self-assessment tool at the beginning so you can answering few questions, you can assess your readiness in the digital world. It's so important. And they have all the time webinars. They have a lot of resources, free resources. So this is an ITC tool as well. It's a different platform than SheTrades, but it's still an ITC. So inviting everybody to connect, because as you were saying, time is so short for 1 hour, and then this is the whole master in digital, and in the Ecom Connect platform you can find a lot of answers and a lot of guidance for you to help you to improve and be more efficient in the digitalization of your companies. Really, thank you very, very much. Your presentation is so rich that actually with Kriti, I was deciding that everyone who answered the survey, the evaluation form, will receive the presentation in PDF. But still remember, for everybody, this webinar is recorded, and then in the platform you will always find in archives, you find the previous webinars of each month, and of course this one will be there. Can we go to the next slide, Jude, please? And then remember, next week we will collect all the questions. And then actually Kriti shared the link in the chat box to complete the evaluation. Remember, next week we have the panel e-commerce essentials for every business, but of course right now is related to what Judith was presenting today, and how COVID is forcing everybody to move toward digital. We have another person from the team, so don't miss the opportunity to have questions for experts. And even we will have women-owned businesses who are successful in this topic that you can see that is not rocket science. I mean, as far as Judith was mentioning, time, dedication, a clear picture, not like I don't know what I'm gonna do in the social media, but it's just following these clear instructions. You can be very successful, and you will have the opportunity to see successful women-owned businesses. Thanks again. It was amazing. I know people are hungry of more information, so we wait for you. I hope you can join next week for the panel, and see you in a week. Thank you very much, Judith.
Thanks.
Million thanks again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.